by Mikey B, as we have now approached the World Series finally starting in 2 days. Mikey, what's up, bud?
Oh, just trying to figure out exactly what the hell is going to happen in this World Series.
Isn't the World Series that we all hoped for? Not really, but I certainly didn't ask.
I mean, hoped for no, but if you thought that this wasn't the leader in the clubhouse for what was actually going to be happening, then you live under a rock.
This was the two teams favored, right? The betting odds before they started with Yankees, Dodgers, whatever order it was. Yeah, Yeah, so look, it is what it is with this one at this point now. I think when we did our bracket challenge back in I think 3 weeks ago, before the playoffs started, I had Dodgers and Orioles. You had Orioles.
I think I had the
Tigers.
I think I had the Orioles beating the Tigers in the American League.
Right.
And then I think I had the Padres.
No, you had Philly.
I did have Philly. You're right. I did.
You have Philly win the whole thing.
I did have Philly to win the whole thing. You're absolutely right.
You rang the bell.
I did, and then unfortunately the bell rang and they got punched right in the face.
So, all right. So I guess keep it real simple. Because I can't find an advantage here, I guess, in this series. Because you were correct on one thing about the Dodgers in the playoffs. If there's one way to get to them, is their pitching staff is hit or miss. And granted, they had a stretch. They had a stretch though for 3 games between the end of their series against San Diego and then of course the start of the NLCS where they had, was it 30, 31, 32, 33 scoreless innings.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Mets after game 2 found a way to jump on them a couple of times in that series. Is that the same situation you think for the Yankees? If they're going to beat this team, jump on the pitching early and force them to make it a hitting duel?
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know that you want to get into an offensive slugfest with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Top to bottom, this lineup has actually found a way to get better, and that's weird to say out loud because you're thinking to yourself, how does this lineup get better when Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts are hitting 1-2? And how does it get better when Freddie Freeman's got a rolled ankle and Teoscar Hernandez is striking out at an average of 1.75 times per playoff game? And it's because of guys like Tommy Edman, who everybody thought was a throwaway trade at the deadline, who has turned into arguably one of the best power hitters in baseball during the playoffs.
Killed my team.
That's random thought process. Yeah. Max Muncy swung the bat well. Gavin Lux against righties has swung the bat well. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know that you want to get into an offensive slugfest. I think if you're the New York Yankees, you have to think to yourself, the way that we win this is by doing exactly what we did against the Cleveland Guardians, which is getting the ball to the next guy without allowing the big inning to occur. If a team is going to score a run, you're okay with it being 1. Don't let 1 turn into 3.
Right. I thought the pitching was actually really solid this series against Cleveland.
It had its very good moments. It had its very questionable moments. Looking at you, Clay Holmes.
Yeah.
But when you look at it from the perspective of what happened, and honestly, I'm going to sit here and tell you that on October 23rd, 2024, as I record this to say this out loud, the Cleveland Guardians exceeded expectations because that offense is not as good as it looked on paper.
Right.
That offense needs a couple more pieces, and that team would have given the Yankees, I think, a better run for their money. But that being said, they took every punch that Cleveland had. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you. There's a lot of old Yankee teams that would have crumbled and died after Noel hit that home run and then Fry walked it off. They would have lost the next game. They would have went to New York and they probably would have lost that one, and we would have been talking about Game 7. And I have a lot of friends who are Yankees fans, and in a group chat with them, and it's, man, Aaron Boone is the worst, and Aaron Boone can't figure this out, and Aaron Boone can't figure that out. Well, Aaron Boone pressed the right buttons at some point in this Cleveland series because
sure did.
They didn't do what Yankee teams of the past have done, which is fold up and go home the minute that someone applied pressure.
Yeah. I thought also in Game 5, look, Soto gets all the credit, and we'll get to him in a second, for that big run, the big 3-1 home run in the 10th inning. But to me, I think just as important as that home run was the Yankees bullpen was solid in those late innings, like
Yeah.
killing them.
I mean, and here's the thing, and I don't want to take away from anything that that bullpen has done, but let's talk about what led to that. The Cleveland Guardians defense had been the thing that had gotten them to this point. They had allowed guys like Matthew Boyd, Tanner Beebe, and a couple of the other starters that pitched in this series to get the ground ball. Yeah. Well, they got a ground ball, and Brian Rocchio tried to do too much, and it caused the error. And then obviously the Yankees did the thing that they're going to hope the Dodgers don't do, which is turn a 1-run inning into a 3-run inning. And it ended up being the backbreaker. Now, the Yankees bullpen, for all intents and purposes, has been arguably lights out with the exception of Game 5. But this is where I'm going to play devil's advocate. Yankee fans, I want you to listen very clearly to when I say this. There's a reason why Luke Weaver is a ex-starter turned bullpen guy who has bounced around from team to team to team. There's going to come a time where something is going to happen. You need to remember that he is the equivalent of an NHL goalie during the playoffs. They're riding the hot hand. He is not your closer of the future. He is not your closer of this series. The reality of the situation is when you're facing the Los Angeles Dodgers, I look at what you should do, and I think that this is the thing that you should convert someone, whether if you're telling me that you have a lefty that's going to face off with Ohtani, Betts, Freddie, or you tell me that you got a righty that's going to go Betts, Freddie, Tommy Edman, or Teoscar Hernandez, whatever Dave Roberts decides to plug and play there. But I don't want you to live in this world that Luke Weaver is Mariano Rivera, because he's not.
Right.
He is not let's go ahead and turn on the car engine and drive home because the game's over when Luke Weaver's coming in, because there was a guy that was supposed to be, and it was Emmanuel Clase, and you proved that there is no such thing as a lights out closer in the playoffs, because at the end of the day, they still have to get the outs.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. Just plug it and play this point and makes it work. So 4 to 7 games. With the Dodgers though, and obviously me being a little even closer because me being a Met fan, of course, and us go down 6 games. It's so weird that the people who killed us in that series in the end wasn't even the stars. Like Shohei had his moments early in the series. Mookie had a couple spots here and there. I know Freeman had a home run in Game 2. But the folks that killed us were the ones that we weren't thinking about. The Max Muncies, the Erdman, was the other guy, the kid that killed the games. Edmund, not Erdman. The pick up from was he in St. Louis earlier in the year?
He was a member of the
right. Those are the guys that killed us, man. It's like that's how dangerous the Dodgers are. It's like you're so focused on Shohei and Betts and all these stars, but those other guys are the Hernandez and stuff. Those guys are almost as dangerous, man. And that's what makes that team special.
Well, I mean, let's peel back the layer here, and I've talked about this, off air to numerous friends in the bubble. They got Teoscar Hernandez for $23.5 million. He took less money to play for the LA Dodgers. That's not
money in California. That's fucking crazy.
And here it is. Here's the thing. If he goes out and has himself a good World Series, he's going to be somebody's fallback plan, because the contract that he signed in LA was a 1-year deal. There's going to be a team, potentially the New York Yankees, that miss out on Juan Soto, and the fallback option will be Teoscar Hernandez. Because at the end of the day, he's proven in his 1 year in Los Angeles at the age of 31 that he can hit the ball anywhere. There was the argument, he can't hit outdoors. He's great he was great in Toronto because it was the dome and it was climate control. Bullshit. Teoscar Hernandez can hit. It doesn't matter if you put him in a dome, or it doesn't matter where you put him. The question and the thing is, the Mets ran into a bigger issue for the New York Mets, and that was the fact that Last year was the year that you guys had Verlander and Scherzer, and you told
Right.
me those were the guys that were going to win you game 1 and 2 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You didn't have that in this run. So the fact that you got past Milwaukee was impressive. The fact that you took the Dodgers and forced their back against the wall at points in this series is absolutely impressive.
The fact that past Philadelphia.
That's
4 games.
Getting past Philadelphia. All of those, vastly impressive. But the reality of the situation is this. Sean Manaea cannot be your number 1 in the playoffs.
No.
And I get it. Kota Senga should have been there, but the injury. Well, guess what? You had a trade deadline just like every other team did. And the Dodgers are going to wheel out their trade line acquisition game 1, and that is Jack Flaherty. Do I agree with it? No. Do I think it should be Yoshinobu Yamamoto? Yes. Do I think it's going to matter? No, because I at the end of the day, I think this thing was going 7, whether I started or you started for either team.
Right.
I think this is going to be the old school knockdown, drag out. Each team's going to take each team's best punch, and to steal the line from Huddle Up a couple of days ago. Whoever has the ball last is going to win.
So Flaherty, you mentioned too. If he starts game 1, no, game 1 against the Mets, he pitched a shutout, eight innings, I believe it was in that game. He was fantastic in that game. Then in game 5, he was absolute shit. So, I mean, you're getting both sides of it.
Which Jack Flaherty are you going to get?
Right.
I mean, Jack Flaherty is 1-2 with an ERA of 7 in the playoffs right now.
Right. So it's a little bit of,
I have my other concerns too. I mean, obviously the Yankees are going to wheel out Garrett Cole, which is what they should do, but they haven't announced a starter for game 2 yet. That's to be determined. The Dodgers have announced that is Yoshinobu. Easy for me to say. Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is one of those where I have some internal questions on where I think that they have this breaking down the way that I think. So I'm intrigued to see what the final rosters look like once those get released, because I do think that there's going to be a change or two on them. I think the Yankees are not going to keep all the pieces that they had on there on the bat side because of the injury to Rizzo. I think they're just going to ride with him and John Birdie at first base. So I think one of those bench players may get kept off to then keep to go put another pitcher on. Those probably won't be released until Friday morning, if I had to guess. I don't know that there's any moves that I think the Dodgers are going to make. That's gonna change this. I think they're probably just gonna wheel that same roster, plus or minus if somebody maybe got hurt or is fatigued or something like that. But I don't necessarily see, I guess, anything else. I know the real question right now, the 3 names that were left off of their NLCS roster: Miguel Rojas, the former Marlin, who tweaked his side or his hand. I don't remember exactly what the injury was. Left-handed pitcher Alex Vesia, and then righty Brusdar Gatterall. For those of you that don't know, that was the add-in piece on the Mookie Betts trade. Kind of a pretty good throw-in piece. And I think I do think that they find a way to get at least one of those pitchers into the roster. I just don't know which one they're going to go with. I don't know if it's Gratterall, who hasn't pitched since I think June, Vesia, who pitched early in September before going out with an injury. So I have some concerns. I do, but I think I have concerns both sides. This isn't I'm only concerned about the Dodgers and the Yankees have everything figured out. So I think that's something we gotta.
So make a prediction then. So who's winning the series?
I'm gonna go Dodgers in 7.
I'm the same way too. I'm the same.
And I think I'm gonna even more or less call my shot here. It is not Shohei Ohtani who wins Game 7 for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
It's Mookie.
It is not Mookie Betts. It's gonna be Will Smith.
Oh.
The backstop of the LA Dodgers will hit a game-ending base hit, and we will have one of, if not the first one that I can actually remember in quite a long time, we will have a walk-off to determine the winner of the World Series.
I want to see it. I want the full tilt. I want it to be a classic, the most classic. Much I hate both these teams, though. The only thing worse for me than the Phillies and Yankees, but
I mean, if I got to sit through a Yankees World Series, I want the roller coaster. I don't want this to be
absolutely. I want
out for either team. I want this thing. I want all
entertain me, motherfucker.
Yeah,
come on, let's go.
I'm gonna sit through these games regardless, and if I've got to sit through Yankees games, and I've got to sit here in a group chat full of Yankee fans and read every time that oh, why didn't he throw it to first?
Yeah, right. For real. I'm with you, man. I got Dodgers 7-12 too for this. I don't know if I'm that bold to take Will Smith as the reason they win it, but I'll take that, and I'll take MVP. I'll go Hernandez for MVP.
I think if there's a guy, obviously Shohei's the name is Mookie. Same with Freddie if his ankle holds up, but I think they're going to be very cautious about going after the two at the top if Freddie's in the lineup, hoping.
Is he playing? He's playing, right?
They're saying that he's a go. If I'm Dave Roberts, I don't know that I have him batting in the 3 spot because at this point you're telling yourself any ground ball's a double play.
That's true.
Because he's not beating anything out.
He played game 2 because he hit a home run that game.
Yeah, no, and I think he played everything with the exception of game 6. Or game 5.
No, he missed that. He missed most of the series. Actually, I think he missed.
I know what I'm saying but it was also predominantly lefty pitching,
right?
And I know he sat the last game out against Minaya, and they came out and said it was a mixture of the ankle, the traveling from East Coast to West Coast, and the lefty. It was a little bit of everything. Dave Roberts decided that route, figuring give him the extra day, let it heal, and then if we need him in game 7, we obviously will have Freddie and give him a cortisone shot. He won't feel a thing.
It's not all the rest, though. So he hasn't played in over a week and a half now, so that should help him. We had a week off here.
It depends. See, it depends. Ankles are hamstrings in baseball.
That's true.
Because you use it everywhere. You take the step to swing. He's playing a position where he moves on his feet based off of every throw that gets thrown at him, stretching, bending, etc. This is one of those things where I wouldn't be surprised if they come out after the World Series and they're like, oh, hey, by the way, he had minor ankle surgery to clean up the fucking debris in his ankle. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised if he's literally playing through what would have probably been a 6-week IL stint if this was the middle of June.
Yeah.